I'm a personal bodyguard to a female CEO, a highly trained elite specialist she spent a massive fortune to hire. By all accounts, I should have been right by her side, keeping her safe. Yet, as she was being aggressively harassed by a gang of thugs, trembling in sheer terror and absolute helplessness, I merely stood by and watched with complete, icy detachment, as if the chaotic scene unfolding before me had absolutely nothing to do with me. In fact, I leisurely unwrapped a white rabbit milk candy and popped it right into my mouth. Deep down, I knew exactly what was about to happen. Based on my years of binge-watching cheesy web dramas, this was the classic cliché where a damsel in distress is cornered so that the powerful male lead can make a dramatic, perfectly timed entrance. Scanning the second floor of the club, I spotted a man clad in a traditional Zhongshan suit, staring intently at the surrounded and panicked female CEO. His lips curled into a textbook, calculated smirk. 3 parts mockery, 3 parts indifference, and 4 parts utter arrogance. He was patiently waiting for Shun Bing to be pushed to her absolute limit of despair and humiliation by those thugs, so he could swoop in at the perfect moment like a glorious savior. A classic hero, saving the beauty. Word on the street is this guy's name is Yi Tian, a top-tier martial arts master from the deepest mountains, famously nicknamed the Dragon King. A nearby waiter, seeing me stand frozen like a statue, rushed over and gave me a hard shove. "Hey, are you blind or what, big guy? Your boss is about to be totally violated." Ignoring his frantic shouting, I marched with steady, deliberate steps toward the corner of the wall, where a bright red emergency fire alarm box was mounted. Amidst the deafening noise of the dance floor, the sleazy thug let out a wicked laugh and lunged to grab Shin Bing's arm. Up on the second floor, Yi Tian braced himself, ready to make his dramatic leap. Without a single moment of hesitation, I smashed the glass cover and slammed the emergency button. In the very next second, an ear-splitting fire alarm shrieked through the venue, instantly drowning out the blasting club music. Then, the overhead sprinklers across the ceiling activated in unison, drenching the entire crowd in a torrential downpour. I puffed out my chest and screamed at the top of my lungs, "Fire! Help me!" While screaming, I bent down to grab a heavy, dry chemical fire extinguisher from the corner, firmly gripped the nozzle, and blasted it directly toward the group of thugs crowding the dance floor. Thick white powder instantly billowed and blanketed the entire area. The thugs, already shivering violently from the freezing water, breathed in a massive mouthful of the suffocating chemical powder. Completely losing their nerve to harass the female CEO, they clutched their burning eyes, screaming in sheer panic. As they stumbled around, up on the second floor, the abrupt, shrieking alarm startled Yi Tian so badly he physically flinched. In his momentary confusion, his foot slipped, sending him plummeting face first from the second-floor balcony. Taking advantage of the absolute chaos, I dashed onto the flooded dance floor, heaving in semi-conscious Shun Bing onto my shoulder. She thrashed wildly, her arms flailing as she whimpered, Let me down. The emergency exits are completely bottlenecked right now. If you fall and get trampled to death, who the hell is going to pay my salary this month?" Stabilizing my grip on Shun Bing, I navigated the room with pinpoint precision, expertly weaving through the stampeding crowd of panicked patrons. With a single, powerful kick, I burst through the back exit of the club. Behind us, the venue had descended into total anarchy, and I could faintly hear a furious, utterly humiliated roar, echoing from the upper level. Who the fuck pulled that alarm? My perfect moment. Smirking, I unlocked the car door and tossed a drenched Shun Bing into the passenger seat. This rescue operation was honestly a textbook masterpiece. Shun Bing's face was flushed as red as a ripe tomato, her glassy, hazy eyes locking onto me as she limply slumped toward the driver's seat. Her sweet perfume, heavily laced with the scent of alcohol, drifted directly into my nostrils. This was clearly the most cliché plot device straight out of a trashy web novel. I let out a helpless sigh and immediately cranked the car's air conditioning down to the freezing minimum. A blast of icy air roared directly onto Shun Bing. "Stop. It's freezing. Just bear with it. It's physical cooling. Besides, the leather on these seats is incredibly expensive." If you vomit in here, the detailing fee is coming straight out of your pocket. With that, I slammed on the gas, and the car roared down the street. Right then, my phone buzzed violently. It was a text message from an unknown number. Bring her to room 1208 at the Hilton Hotel. I'm the only one who can save her. Do this, and you'll be handsomely rewarded. Yi Tian. I glanced at the screen, scoffing. I immediately replied with a brief, "Are you out of your mind?" before casually tossing the phone onto the passenger seat. Shen Bing's soft, breathless voice whimpered. "Please, help me. I feel so hot, so uncomfortable. Please do something." Slumped in the back, she kept calling out my name, in a sweet, incredibly breathless voice, so agonizingly soft it could melt a stone. Her burning hot hands reached forward and clamped onto my arm. By this point, her gaze had completely lost focus, her body reacting wildly to the heavy dosage. As her consciousness slipped away, "Just hang in there. We're almost at our destination." Destination? Where? The hospital. What? The emergency room for stomach pump. According to my expertise, your current condition is a textbook case of acute chemical poisoning. The absolute best treatment is to insert a thick tube, vacuum everything out of your stomach, and flush it with a heavy dose of activated charcoal. In the back seat, Shen Bing froze in sheer horror before letting out a desperate, soul-crushing shriek that pierced the night sky. 10 minutes later, my car carved a flawless drift through the dark streets, screeching to a halt right in front of the ER entrance. I leaped out of the driver's seat, bolting toward a dozing nurse inside the reception area. As I hollered at the top of my lungs, "Doctor, emergency. A wealthy CEO has been heavily poisoned. Get a gurney out here right now. We need a full stomach pump and use the thickest tube you've got. Don't worry about the cost. She has premium health insurance." The medical staff frantically wheeled a gurney out, the wheels clattering loudly against the pavement. Together, we struggled to lift the heavily delirious Shen Bing onto the cot. Watching her being wheeled into the trauma bay, I finally let out a massive sigh of relief. After handling the billing and paperwork, I sat down, right outside the closed double doors of the emergency room, happily devouring a warm, roasted sweet potato. Just then, from the far end of the corridor, a rush of heavy, frantic footsteps echoed loudly. Looking up, I saw Yi Tian, still wearing his signature Zhongshan suit, sprinting down the hall, drenched in sweat. Seeing me casually sitting there holding a half-eaten sweet potato, his eyes narrowed sharply, and he visibly froze in utter bewilderment. Then, his entire face contorted into a mask of pure rage. "Why is Bing Bing in there?" "Oh, she's getting her stomach pumped." I imagine the scene in there is absolute, chaotic hell. "You complete idiot. Do you honestly believe mortal medicine can cure a highly complex poison like this? Only my legendary Tai divine needles, coupled with my exclusive inner chi, can successfully purge the toxins from her body. You are actively killing her." With a furious roar, he charged forward to break into the room. I quickly popped the last bite of my sweet potato into my mouth and took a massive stride, completely blocking the entrance. "Hold it right there, pal. This is a hospital ICU. If you want to perform surgery, show me your credentials. Even an unconventional medical license would do. Where is your medical internship certificate or a formal consultation invitation from the hospital? Oh, by the way, you look like you just crawled out of the mountains. Do you even carry a basic ID card?" Hearing my bombardment of questions, Yi Tian stood frozen in absolute disbelief. He had spent 15 years in the mountains, mastering martial arts and medicine. No one had ever told him that saving lives required paperwork. I am the sole successor of Ghost Valley. I do not need worthless scraps of paper to save lives. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you trying to get physical with me? I pointed directly at the security camera, mounted right above us. A 360-degree, zero-blind spot. Ultra-high-definition camera. See that? It is recording everything in real time. Lay a single finger on me, and I will instantly drop to the floor. I have chronic high blood pressure and a terrible heart condition. If I hit this floor, it's going to cost you at least $200 million to walk away. Security, we got a public disturbance over here. Someone is trying to force his way into the operating room, and he's armed with metal needles. He is carrying lethal weapons. Before my voice even faded, 3 burly security guards armed with riot shields came charging down the hall. Yi Tian stared at the approaching guards, his face turning a deep, humiliated shade of purple. As the almighty dragon king, he had absolutely never suffered such a degrading embarrassment in his entire life. With a sudden, aggressive flick of his wrist, several gleaming silver needles flew through the air with a sharp whistle, aiming directly for the pressure points of the security guards. I instantly leaped into action, grabbing a heavy stainless steel trash can from the corridor. Stepping forward with lightning speed, I swung it clang, clang, clang. With a series of crisp, metallic rings, I deflected every single needle. How dare you physically assault hospital security personnel? I never expected you to be a martial arts practitioner as well. Today, I shall clear the house on behalf of Shinbing and utterly cripple you, you treacherous, ungrateful dog. His footsteps turned into a blur as his body instantly transformed into a dark, sweeping shadow. Thrusting his palm directly toward my chest, I didn't even bother to dodge. Instead, I actively thrust my chest forward, while simultaneously sliding my hand into my pocket to grab my phone, instantly switching on the video recorder. He landed a powerful, heavy palm strike square on my chest, delivering a massive, solid impact. I willingly went with the momentum, flying backward, like a torn sack of potatoes, crashing down 3 meters away. Arg, we got an assailant. He's trying to murder me. I scrambled and rolled around on the floor, clutching my chest, feigning absolute, excruciating agony as I thrashed back and forth. My voice was as shrill and pathetic as a cat getting its tail stepped on. F. My ribs are shattered. I have severe internal bleeding. I can't see. My vision is going black. Somebody save me. You're faking it. I barely used 3% of my strength. 3% is still physical assault. Everyone saw it. This man is a highly dangerous martial artist, and he's actively trying to execute me. While howling in theatrical, blood-curdling agony, I subtly angled my phone upward, capturing every single second on video. Moments later, the majestic, imposing figures of the law enforcement officers finally burst onto the scene. As the 2 officers pushed open the doors and rushed in, their eyes instantly narrowed, clearly stunned by the chaotic, dramatic scene before them. A menacing brute standing aggressively in the center of the room, and a poor bodyguard clutching his chest on the floor, with a fresh trace of blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. Officers, please listen to me. I am a Dragon King. I was framed. I don't care if you're the Dragon King or the Sea King. Show me your ID. You're coming with us. Watching the pathetic back of Yi Tian as he was handcuffed and dragged away in disgrace, I instantly stopped wailing, effortlessly pushing myself up from the floor. With a blank expression, I casually brushed the dust off my pants. My ribs actually did smart a little bit, but it was no big deal. I'll just file it as a workplace injury and have Shinbing reimburse me later. In fact, I'll make sure she tacks on a massive hazard pay bonus. The next morning, Shinbing finally groggily regained consciousness. She sat upright in her hospital bed, her face completely pale and her voice incredibly raspy. What on earth happened last night? Why am I in a hospital? I gave her a highly organized, straightforward rundown of the entire incident, making sure to highlight how incredibly cool-headed I remained, how I swiftly contacted the authorities, how I arranged a highly professional medical evacuation, and especially my heroic actions in shielding her from a dangerous thug, which left me with physical injuries. So you're telling me Yi Tian was trying to save me, and you ended up throwing him into a police holding cell? Actually, is the fiancé my grandfather arranged for me? Oh, then this is infinitely more serious. A fiancé who drugs his own bride-to-be deserves maximum prison time. You, who said he was the one who drugged me. Whoever stands to benefit the most is always the prime suspect. Regardless, the police are handling the investigation, President Shun. Let's ignore that guy for a moment and focus on the more important matter, my reimbursement. ER registration was $50. The stomach pump and emergency care was $800, plus my personal medical expenses, emotional distress damages, and my overtime night shift allowance. The grand total is $58,000. Jiang-Hu, are you literally obsessed with money? I almost had my entire life ruined last night, and all you care about is a handful of petty cash. President Shun, our connection is strictly a contractual employment. I took a brutal, agonizing hit to the chest for you. In this day and age, mixing business with feelings gets you bankrupted. If you're unsatisfied with my bodyguard services, you're free to file a formal complaint. But you still have to pay my bill. Fine. I'll transfer it to you now. I am sending 000. The extra 42,000 is for one thing. To buy your absolute silence. Now get the hell out of my sight. Absolutely. My boss is truly the most generous benefactor. The second my phone buzzed with the deposit notification, I instantly stood up straight, offering a deep, respectful bow. I'll head back and brew you some soup then. The doctor specifically instructed that since you just got your stomach pumped, you can only have liquid food. Shin Bing let out a weary sigh, waving her hand dismissively, her face filled with absolute annoyance. She clearly didn't want to exchange another single word with me. Stepping out of the VIP ward, I pulled up my phone and stared at the newly inflated balance in my bank account, unable to help but cheerfully hum a little tune. But on second thought, this matter is definitely far from over. That guy Etion undoubtedly has some massive connections backing him up. The moment he gets released, he will absolutely seek bloody vengeance. As dusk descended, I escorted Shinbing back to her brightly lit, sprawling luxury villa. Unlike other generic bodyguards who lazily wander around the yard, on patrol duty, I grabbed a tiny plastic stool and planted myself firmly right in front of the main entrance. Next, I set up a portable gas stove, ignited the flame, and began boiling a piping hot pot of stinky Liuezhou snail noodles. Right as midnight struck, several dark, stealthy shadows silently breached the perimeter of the yard. If my calculations were correct, the Dragon King's petty retaliation crew had finally arrived. The lead assassin in black had barely scaled the wall when he inhaled the stench and nearly gagged to death. I slurped a mouthful of noodles, looked up at the intruders who were currently crying tears of agony on top of the wall, and flashed them an incredibly warm, friendly smile. Yo, brothers, have you guys eaten yet? If not, why don't you come over and have a bowl? As I spoke, my foot casually kicked a stripped, live high-voltage wire lying on the ground, sliding it directly into the freshly watered lawn just ahead. Instantly, a highly rhythmic, terrifying crackle echoed from the wet grass, followed by the assassins in black, twitching and flailing violently as if they were breakdancing. Holding my bowl of snail noodles, I calmly glanced down at my watch. 3, 2, 1. The three agile, fierce-looking thugs were now splayed out on the damp lawn. Like three gasping, dying fish, foam bubbled from their mouths, and their hair stood straight up like electrocuted cartoon characters. I literally invited you guys down to have some noodles, yet you chose to do this the hard way. Muttering to myself, I set the bowl down, pulled on a pair of heavy-duty insulated rubber gloves, and walked over to disconnect the offending live wire. Then I squatted down and playfully patted the cheek of the paralyzed lead assassin. I reached into his jacket and pulled out a sharp tactical dagger, followed by a meticulously drawn assassination blueprint. It even contained a highly detailed floor plan of the villa, with Shun Bing's master bedroom prominently circled in red. Damn, talk about professional. Are modern-day hitmen really this dedicated now? This tactical plan is literally more detailed than my weekly work reports. I smoothly pulled out my phone and took a few quick photos. Hello, is this Inspector Lee? Yes, indeed. Hey there, it's me again. Your favorite citizen, Jiang Hu. Oh, everything's totally fine. Just a few stray thieves trying to break in. Honestly, they were probably trying to steal my secret snail noodle recipe. Anyway, I've already successfully subdued them. Yeah, they weren't careful and accidentally electrocuted themselves. Our wiring here is incredibly ancient, so I'll definitely get it fixed tomorrow. Alright, sorry to trouble you guys. Hanging up, I stared down at the three unconscious achievements on the grass, already calculating whether this counted as a major contribution. I wonder if I could use this to demand a double year-end bonus from Shunbing. Half an hour later, piercing police sirens shattered the quiet peace of the Villa District. An abruptly awakened Shunbing, hastily wrapped in her robe, with her hair completely disheveled, stood on the second-floor balcony. What on earth did you do this time? Don't worry about it, boss. Just caught a few food delivery guys. Actually, they're just free EXP deliveries. Go back to sleep. I'm going to head down to the station to give my statement. I'll bring you some breakfast when I get back. With that, I handed the confiscated tactical blueprint over to Inspector Lee. Here is the physical evidence. These guys are definitely part of an organized syndicate, and there's absolutely a massive kingpin pulling the strings. I highly recommend a thorough, top-to-bottom investigation. Specifically, that self-proclaimed dragon. King guy who was just bailed out. He's easily the prime suspect. By the time the entire mess was fully sorted out, the sun had already risen, sporting a pair of massive, sleep-deprived dark circles. I chauffeured Shinbing to her corporate headquarters. By today, her complexion had recovered significantly. She had fully reverted to her cold, aloof persona of a high-flying CEO, though her eyes kept darting toward me with a deeply suspicious gaze. Were those intruders last night targeting me? Duh. Do you honestly think they broke in for my snail noodles? President Shin, you've really racked up quite a formidable list of enemies, haven't you? But don't you worry. As long as the funds keep flowing steadily, not even a single fly will manage to breach a 1-meter radius around you. The very second my car pulled up in front of the Shun Group headquarters, I immediately spotted a highly familiar figure. None other than the infamous Yi Tian. This absolute clown had actually changed into a brand new outfit. He had ditched his traditional Zhongshan suit, opting instead for a ridiculously skin-tight, flashy, ostentatious white suit. And in his hands, he clutched a monstrous bouquet of deep red roses. He stood right by the main entrance of the company, striking a melodramatic pose like a brooding prince. After parking the car, I stepped out to open the door for Shinbing. The moment Shinbing caught sight of Yi Tian, her brow instantly furrowed into a tight knot. How did he get released so quickly? He's got high-priced lawyers, of course. And honestly, he didn't actually perform any illegal medical acts last night, nor did his physical assault leave me permanently crippled. At most, he'd only be charged with disturbing public order, so they couldn't keep him locked up for long. Yi Tian's eyes lit up the instant he spotted Shinbing, and he quickly marched over to us. Bing, thank goodness you're all right. I was framed by a despicable rat last night and couldn't protect you. I'm so sorry you had to suffer through that ordeal. I came here today specifically to make things up to you. Shinbing took a deliberate step back. Mr. Yi, please show some self-respect. Besides, if it weren't for your reckless stunt last night, I wouldn't have ended up in the hospital in the first place. That was all a massive misunderstanding. Binger, please listen to me. This was all orchestrated by your absolutely worthless bodyguard. He deliberately set me up. Binger, fire this clown immediately. From this day forward, I will personally serve as your private bodyguard. I don't need a single dime of salary. My only desire is to protect you. Hearing this, I was completely dumbfounded. This bastard was literally trying to steal my livelihood. Mr. Yi, you need to back up your claims with actual facts. I have already signed a formal, legally binding 3-year contract with the Shun Group, complete with full social security and health insurance. You want the boss to fire me? Sure, but according to labor laws, wrongful termination without cause requires an N+2 severance payout. On top of that, I just suffered a workplace injury and am currently in my recovery period. Firing me right now is a flagrant violation of the law, and I will gladly sue this company. Boss, even though I know you're filthy rich, there is absolutely no need to throw away money on a lawsuit like that. Furthermore, this Mr. Yi doesn't have a professional bodyguard license, lacks a basic medical clearance certificate, and definitely does not possess a clean criminal record check. Our HR department would absolutely never clear him for employment. Yi Tian stood there, absolutely dazed as I pelted him with a barrage of corporate jargon. The legendary, almighty dragon king himself, condescending to work as your bodyguard, is already a massive blessing. Why would I ever need a worthless certificate? Of course you do. See this? Even a basic security guard has to show a certified background check. What do you have? Do you perhaps carry a certified psychiatric evaluation? Provoked beyond his limit, Yi Tian's rage boiled over completely. With a violent flick of his wrist, a powerful wave of invisible energy erupted outward, shattering and scattering the rose petals all over the ground. Head of security, guards, we've got a public disturbance at the main gate. Our personal safety is being actively threatened. Bring the riot shields over here right now, and call the police while you're at it. Tell them the lunatic who caused a scene at the hospital yesterday is now harassing employees at our headquarters. Fine. Your name is Jiang-Hu, right? I will remember your face. Yi Tian gnashed his teeth, furiously hurling the giant bouquet to the pavement. Binger, just you wait. I will absolutely prove to you that this worthless, pathetic loser is completely incapable of protecting you. In a few days, at your grandfather's grand birthday banquet, I will deliver a surprise you will never forget. With that final threat, he spun around and stormed off. Before making his exit, he tried to show off his legendary Qigong jump by leaping over a large planter, only to slip on a wet tile that had just been watered, stumbling frantically and nearly face-planting onto the concrete. I watched his pathetic retreating figure and slowly shook my head. No anti-slip soles. Absolute rookie mistake. Minus 10 points. Although Yi Tian had finally left, the ominous parting words he threw out left Shun Bing's mind heavily burdened. My grandfather. His health has indeed been deteriorating rapidly lately. The hospital hasn't been able to identify the root cause. He's just growing weaker and weaker by the day. Yi Tian claimed he is the only one who can cure him, and grandfather trusts him blindly. They can't find the root cause? Well, usually in these scenarios, it's either a highly rare, incurable terminal illness, or someone is secretly slipping the old man incompatible substances. They're slowly poisoning him from the inside out. What exactly are you implying? Nothing in particular, just a standard professional instinct. By the way, didn't that Yi Tian guy just come down from the mountains? How on earth did he know the old man was terminally ill? And how is he so ridiculously confident he can cure him? I know this exact cliched playbook inside out. It's classic bait and switch. First, they let the old man's condition turn critical, leaving the doctors completely helpless. Then, he swoops in with some miraculous cure-all pill, allowing the old man to instantly leap out of bed, do a jig, and immediately declare your marriage on the spot, right? He couldn't possibly be that low and despicable, right? You can know a person's face, but never their true intentions. When the birthday banquet rolls around in a few days, I'll accompany you to the venue. But remember, this counts as an official business trip, so I expect hazard pay. In the blink of an eye, the weekend finally arrived. I accompanied Shin Bing to the ancestral estate of the Shun family. The estate was constructed like a magnificent royal palace, with the grand entrance completely packed with luxury sports cars. Dressed in my dirt-cheap off-the-rack suit, I walked alongside the absolutely breathtaking Shun Bing, looking exactly like an ugly duckling that had accidentally blundered into a flock of elegant swans. The moment we stepped into the grand hall, we saw a white-bearded elderly man sitting weakly in a wheelchair. His face was as pale as wax, and his breathing was incredibly shallow. He was surrounded by a massive crowd of relatives, each wearing a deeply solemn and sorrowful expression. As for Yi Tian, he had dressed up to look even more like a mystical Taoist priest, wearing a long flowing robe while clutching a wooden box, exuding the vibe of an otherworldly master. Binger, you're finally here. Today is strictly a private family gathering. It would be best if unrelated outsiders wait outside where they belong. I am President Shun's exclusive personal bodyguard. My contract strictly mandates 24/7 round-the-clock protection at all times. What if someone tries to poison the food at this banquet? I am fully responsible for her dietary safety. Poison, you say? How utterly ignorant. Elder Master Shun, please rest easy. Today, I have brought you the ultimate secret elixir of my sect, the 9 Revolution soul-returning pill. With just a single pill, I guarantee your illness will be instantly cured, granting you longevity. With that, he slowly opened the wooden box, releasing a powerful, pungent wave of herbal medicine into the room. Resting inside was a jet-black pill. The surrounding relatives let out a collective, awestruck gasp. Oh my God, is this the legendary miracle medicine of myth? Young Master Yi is truly incredibly filial and thoughtful. Excellent. Wonderful young man. Smugly basked in the adulation, Yi Tian picked up the black pill, intending to shove it directly into the elderly man's mouth. Yi Tian, wearing an incredibly smug smirk, picked up that black pill and was right on the verge of shoving it down the old man's throat. Stop right there. I lunged forward like a lightning bolt. Firm die Grabing, Yi Tian sidist. The entire banquet hall fell dead silent. Everyone stared at me as if I were an absolute lunatic. Yi Tian was so furious his eyes looked ready to pop out of his skull. Jianghu, what the hell are you doing now? If you delay Elder Master's treatment, can you even afford to take responsibility? I am doing this strictly to guarantee the life and safety of the Elder Master. Does this pill have a certified manufacturing date? Does it have an expiration date? Does it have a registration number from the Food and Drug Administration? Is there an official list of ingredients? What about a warning label for potential side effects? This is a sacred elixir. It was meticulously refined using ancient, secret methods. How could it possibly have a commercial batch number? This medicine is a priceless masterpiece. Boss, this is a textbook 3-no bootleg product. You absolutely cannot let him eat this. Elderly people have highly sensitive digestive systems. What if he gets severe heavy metal poisoning? Cinnabar and mercury are literally standard ingredients in ancient alchemy. You are speaking absolute nonsense. Let go of me. Stop touching me. Everyone is watching. If you want to prove that this questionable ball of soot is completely safe, it's actually incredibly simple. We can either send it to a lab for a quick chemical analysis, or you can eat one yourself first to show us. I snatched the black pill right out of his hand. With blinding speed, and without a single moment of hesitation, snapped it clean in half. Yi Tian let out a heart-wrenching, agonizing shriek. I tossed one half directly into my mouth and began chewing. With lightning-fast speed, I had reached out and snatched the pill right from his hand, snapping it in half without a second thought. Yi Tian let out a deeply tragic, agonizing scream of despair. I popped one half in my mouth, chewing it thoughtfully. A rich, soft texture. It melted in my mouth instantly, leaving behind a subtle, nutty aroma. Wait, isn't this literally just a chocolate-flavored mochi? It's even made with premium cocoa butter. It's a little bit sticky, though. Hey, Brother Yi, you probably bought this on clearance at the supermarket, didn't you? It really is just chocolate mochi. If you guys don't believe me, taste it yourselves. I held out the remaining half of the pill toward a highly reputable-looking family physician standing nearby. The doctor took the fragment, sniffed it, and tasted a tiny bit. His expression instantly turned incredibly bizarre. Indeed, the primary ingredients are cocoa powder and sugar. Ha! Ha ha ha! This is because the miraculous medicinal essence is hidden within. You completely ruined my sacred elixir. Give me a break. I just took a quick look at the Elder Master's physical symptoms. His face is severely jaundiced, his eyes are cloudy, and his breath has a distinct, sweet, fruity odor. These are classic, textbook warning signs of diabetic ketoacidosis. And yet, you actually try to feed him pure sugar. Are you trying to put his life in jeopardy just to inherit his estate? Quick, get him to the hospital for an insulin injection. The grand hall erupted into absolute chaos once again. Shin Bing stared at me, her eyes filled with complete shock. You actually know medicine? I don't know a thing. My uncle literally died from this disease. So I just learned the symptoms through long-term exposure. Yi Tian stood frozen in place like an absolute idiot, still clutching his empty wooden box, becoming the single biggest laughingstock of the entire banquet. Just outside the villa gates, Yi Tian suddenly blocked our car. This time, he didn't waste any words on useless banter. His eyes flared with genuine, bloodthirsty intent. Jianghu, you have repeatedly ruined my plans. Today, even if the Jade Emperor himself descends from the heavens, he won't be able to save your pathetic life. With a violent tear, he ripped off his flashy white suit jacket, revealing his toned, muscular physique. A powerful, visible aura began swirling around his body, whipping up the fallen leaves on the pavement into a miniature vortex. He looked like an anime boss charging up his ultimate move. Terrified, Shun Bing tightly clutched my sleeve. What do we do? He looks like he actually knows real martial arts. I calmly unbuckled my seatbelt and stepped out of the car. Yi Tian formed a complex hand seal, chanting under his breath. The universe is boundless. The law of heaven and earth. The dragon's roar of the 9 heavens. First stance. But while he was busy showing off, charging up his energy, and delivering his dramatic monologue, I quietly popped open the car's trunk and pulled out a heavy, cylindrical red object. Yanking the safety pin, I aimed it directly at Yi Tian. Take this. Take this. Yi Tian let out a feral, thunderous roar, just as he was about to charge. Pshhhhh. A massive, high-pressure blast of white, dry chemical powder erupted like a roaring dragon, instantly blasting him right in the face and covering him head to toe. Behold the raw power of a 4 kilograms high-pressure car fire extinguisher. That legendary dragon's roar of a 9 heavens instantly dissolved into a fit of violent, pathetic coughing. He was blasted so hard he couldn't even open his eyes. All his fancy inner strength and spiritual chi were absolutely useless against a suffocating cloud of ammonium phosphate. While he was busy frantically clawing at his eyes, I executed a textbook joint lock submission, slamming him face first onto the pavement and pinning his back down with my knee. Did your master never teach you that the villain always dies? Because they talk too much? Wait, is it really over just like that? Of course. What did you expect? A 300-round anime duel. By the way, President Shun, this fire extinguisher costs $200 to refill. Put on my tab. Stop squirming, Dragon King. These are industrial-grade zip ties. The more you struggle, the tighter they get. Oh, and I already called the psychiatric hospital. I told them we have a highly delusional patient on the loose, running around half-naked and aggressively attacking pedestrians. I stepped on the gas, and our car sped away. In the rearview mirror, Yi Tian could be seen roaring in absolute, impotent despair, though his cries were quickly swallowed by the wind. Yi Tian was locked away, but the legends of his exploits still lingered. Word on the street was that his Azura temple commanded over 100,000 elite death row mercenaries scattered across the globe. I honestly thought it was just internet folklore, until Tuesday morning. The main lobby of the Shun Group headquarters was suddenly blockaded by 4 bizarrely dressed individuals. These 4 misfits came in all shapes and sizes, tall, short, fat, and skinny. One clutched a massive bronze mace. Another wore a traditional longsword on his back. A third was casually playing with 2 live venomous vipers. And the last one was dressed like a peak cringe-era emo goth, with long, greasy hair completely covering half his face. They stood dead center in the grand lobby, oozing such an intimidating aura that the receptionist was trembling in pure terror. Even our chief of security, Captain Wong, brandishing his rubber baton, didn't dare take a single step forward. Tell Shun Bing to get out here. Otherwise, this entire building will be painted in blood. Crash! Glass shattered everywhere, as the towering brute with the bronze mace let out a deafening roar, causing the massive glass doors of the entrance to rattle violently. Right at that moment, I strolled in holding a bag of fry buns I'd bought for Shinbing, as I casually stepped in from outside. Taking in the scene before me, my immediate thought was that debt collectors had arrived. Was this company actually on the verge of bankruptcy? Hey, what do you think you're doing? Blocking emergency exits is strictly prohibited. Do you not know the regulations? Who the hell are you to interfere with the 4 great heavenly kings of the Azura Temple? 710, I am President Shin's bodyguard. I am President Shun's personal bodyguard. Did you outsiders register at the front desk? Do you have an appointment? Oof. Barging in without an appointment and causing a public nuisance. Want me to report you and get your social credit scores docked? You asking for a B-down? Boss, let's waste this clown first. The towering brute swung his massive bronze mace, aiming a vicious blow straight at my head. That mace weighed at least 25 kilograms, whistling through the air with a terrifying whoosh. If a blow like that actually connected, my head would absolutely shatter like a ripe watermelon. The surrounding female employees shrieked in absolute terror, but I didn't even attempt to block it. Are you kidding? I only make a few grand a month. Why on earth would I risk my actual life? I took a swift step back, casually tossing the bag of piping hot fried buns in my hand straight at his face. By sheer reflex, the brute swung his mace to block the fresh out of the fryer. Buns exploded violently against the heavy bronze weapon, spraying boiling hot savory soup directly onto his face. My eyes. Arg. Destruction of public property. Do you have any idea these Italian imported tiles are incredibly expensive? They cost $3,800 apiece, plus labor costs and shipping fees. Let's call it a flat 20 grand. You paying cash or card? Brothers, tear him to pieces. By the way, that modified off-road vehicle parked outside, with a license plate Azura 01. Whose is that? Illegal modifications, blocking an emergency fire lane, unauthorized structural changes, and driving without a valid permit. Where's the driver? Get out here. The tow truck is already lifting your ride. You dare. Retreat. Quick, don't let them tow our vehicle. Dragging their leader who was still whimpering from the hot soup burns. They scrambled outside in utter humiliation. I watched their retreating backs and shook my head, then knelt down to pick up the single clean fried bun that had miraculously survived on the floor. I blew the dust off and popped it right into my mouth. Wasting delicious food is a sin, after all. But since brute force had failed miserably, they decided to play dirty. Later that afternoon, Shun Bing's office erupted into absolute pandemonium. This is bad. President Shun, our entire internal network has been completely paralyzed. Every single computer screen in the building has gone blue, and they're all displaying a single, threatening message. Release the Dragon King, or we wipe all your data. This is clearly the work of a world-class, elite hacker. Our state-of-the-art firewall was bypassed, like wet tissue paper. Have you contacted the police? What did the Cybercrime Division say? The attacker's API is hosted overseas, routed through hundreds of proxy servers, making it absolutely impossible to trace. They threatened that if we don't comply within 10 minutes, they will leak our highly confidential, multi-billion-dollar product formula to the dark web. The head of our IT department looked like he was about to burst into tears. This leak will completely bankrupt our upcoming launch. In utter desperation, Shun Bing turned her gaze toward me. I was just chilling on the sofa, casually playing a mobile card game. I looked up. What are you staring at me for? I don't know how to code. I can barely even navigate basic spreadsheets. Then what on earth do we do? Are we just supposed to sit here and watch everything burn? Who said you need a computer to deal with a hacker? Since they're controlling our systems remotely, doesn't that mean they strictly rely on our network connection? Well, yes, that's true. I walked over to the server rack, located the thickest fiber optic cable, with the flashing amber warning lights, and with a swift, powerful yank, snap, the entire world instantly fell silent. That smug, mocking skull and crossbones window on the computer screen froze completely. The data upload progress bar ground to a sudden dead halt. There you go, a clean, physical network disconnect. Now, even if that hacker is a literal cyber deity, they won't be able to steal a single byte of data through a severed, dead cable. But, doing this means we can't do any work either. Just pull the physical hard drives out, transfer them to air-gapped computers to copy the files, and then call our ISP to run a fresh, secure line and reformat the systems. Do I seriously have to explain basic IT protocols to you guys? Shun Bing stared at me. The lingering trace of looking down on me as an uncultured country bumpkin in her eyes instantly vanished, replaced instead by a strange, sudden look of admiration. Jiang-Hu, how on earth does your brain even process things? It's a brain forged in pure poverty. Back in the day when my time ran out at the internet cafe, the owner would cut my connection exactly like this. It's what we call street-smart survival experience. In the wake of the network blackout incident, Shun Bing insisted on dragging me along to inspect the company's premises, claiming that only with me by her side could she feel a genuine sense of safety. I desperately wanted to remind her that this was extra hours overtime, which absolutely required hazard pay. But seeing her looking like a frightened little rabbit, I ended up swallowing my words. Whatever. Let's just call it complimentary after sales support. We stepped into her private executive elevator, preparing to head down to the underground parking garage. But just as the metal doors were about to slide shut, a hand suddenly thrust forward, forcefully blocking them. A delivery courier wearing his standard uniform and a low-brimmed baseball cap kept his head down as he stepped inside. He was tightly clutching a large cardboard box in his arms, retreating into the corner without uttering a single word. Shun Bing didn't suspect a thing, keeping her eyes glued to her phone. But my eyes narrowed instantly. This guy carried a highly specific scent. Not the typical sweat of a courier, but the faint, distinct smell of industrial lubricant, used for wiping down cold steel. Furthermore, the web of skin between his thumb and index finger bore thick, heavy calluses, the undeniable signature of an expert blade wielder. As the elevator descended further, the air inside the cramped, confined space grew increasingly tense and suffocating. Suddenly, the delivery courier made his move, violently hurling the heavy box aside. His right hand flashed to his waist, drawing a razor-sharp, gleaming dagger, plunging it directly toward Shun Bing's exposed back. Without warning, the delivery courier struck, forcefully tossing the large package to the floor, while his right hand whipped out a cold, lethal dagger from his waistband, thrusting it straight toward Shun Bing's spine. His movements were blindingly fast, displaying the ruthless precision of a seasoned assassin. Shun Bing caught the reflection in the polished elevator walls, and seeing the deadly blade, screamed in absolute, paralyzing terror. "Hey, are you completely insane? We are in an elevator passing the 18th floor. A struggle here could cause a catastrophic crash. A crash is still a hell of a lot better than getting turned into a shish kebab by your knife. Back off. I got a biochemical weapon right here. You think a tiny spray bottle is going to scare me? I'm Shadow, the elite professional assassin of the Azura Temple. Prepare to meet your doom. My eyes, they're burning. My throat is on fire. Cough hack. Haha. Well, my friend, I strongly advise you never to use industrial pepper spray inside a sealed elevator next time. The fumes are so thick they literally have nowhere to escape. It was an emergency. Don't worry, I'll buy an air freshener to clean up the smell later." Suffering 3 humiliating defeats in a row, the high and mighty Azura Temple was absolutely foaming at the mouth with rage. Rumor had it that Yi Tian's master, the legendary old man of Gigu, had personally, after descending the mountain, rumors say this old geezer is over a century old. Yet his face looks incredibly youthful, and his martial prowess is utterly unfathomable. He has boldly declared his presence, erecting a massive martial arts arena right before the gates of the Shen Group, challenging me to a duel to not only determine who is superior, but to decide who lives or dies. Looking down from the upper floor, Shun Bing's heart pounds frantically against her chest. "Jianghu, don't go out there. This old man looks absolutely terrifying and extremely dangerous. We should just call the cops. Calling the police is completely useless against a shameless, roguish old fossil like him. The moment the cops arrive, he'll just throw himself onto the ground, playing the victim. Even the police will be totally helpless. To deal with a scoundrel of this caliber, one must use magic to defeat magic." Striding out of the grand gates, I walk straight up to the ancient cultivator. The old man snaps his eyes open with a razor-sharp glare. "So you're Jianghu? The brat who crippled my disciple and utterly humiliated our entire sect. Today, this old master shall act on behalf of heaven to execute justice." "Take it easy, old-timer. Calm down. Setting up a duel arena is all well and good, but we need to take care of some official paperwork first. What kind of bizarre witchcraft is this?" "It's nothing, really, just a standard identity verification process." "Grandpa, how old are you exactly?" "This old master is 103 years old." "Wow, that's incredibly fortunate. But tell me, Grandpa, did you happen to bring your ID card with you? Or perhaps your senior citizen pass? According to our city's strict public security and safety regulations, any senior citizen over the age of 70 who participates in strenuous physical activities or large public gatherings must be accompanied by a legal guardian at all times, and must present their most recent medical clearance certificate and sign a formal liability waiver. So, where exactly is your legal guardian right now?" "A grandmaster like me has no need for a guardian." "Ah, so you're just a lonely senior citizen living solo? That makes it even more impossible. What if I accidentally unleash a single punch, and you instantly collapse on the floor, unable to get back up? Who on earth am I supposed to look for to pay the medical bills? Are you trying to scam me, or what? I still have a massive mortgage to pay off, you know." "Hey kids, look over here. A charity company is handing out free promotional gifts. They're giving away premium fresh chicken eggs to everyone. 10 free eggs per person. Strict limit for the first 50 people only. Ha ha ha. Hurry up, or they'll be completely gone. Charge. Nobody better try to block me. This old fossil is blocking the entire path. Move aside. Out of the way. Don't block the way. I'm in extreme rush. Stop pushing me. Hey, this old body of mine possesses true chi protection. Ow. Someone help. Arg. Ouch! Who the hell just stepped on my foot? When facing an army of fierce Chinese aunties eager for freebies, even the terrifying Hall of Azura is absolutely nothing. Jiang-Hu, over these past few days, I really want to thank you. Before this, I honestly thought you were incredibly vulgar, only caring about cold, hard cash. But now I've finally realized, compared to those hypocrites who constantly spout righteousness and morality, yet are ready to obliterate the entire world at the drop of a hat, you are far more dependable. Wait, this dialogue sounds highly suspicious. Is this an actual confession? This is definitely bad. A bodyguard falling for his employer is the ultimate taboo. That's a direct ticket to getting a salary deduction. Furthermore, according to standard plot progressions, once I fall in love, my power scaling and combat IQ will drastically plummet, leaving me like some brainless simp who can only roar. Who dares to lay a hand on my woman? You absolute dummy, I mumbled, cutting a juicy piece of steak, stuffing into my mouth, and speaking with a completely muffled voice. This is just a very common psychological phenomenon. Whenever a person experiences extreme stress, their heart rate naturally accelerates. Sometimes people easily mistake that rush for the butterflies of falling in love. But these two sensations are completely different. You're just dealing with a massive surge of adrenaline and random hormones. Just go home, get a good night's sleep, and drink some warm milk. When you look at me again tomorrow, I'm absolutely certain you'll find me just as annoying as before. You really are completely clueless when it comes to romance. I am being completely serious right now. I genuinely think we could give it a shot. Deal. A shot at raising my salary? Now, that is music to my ears. I feel like my stellar performance lately warrants a solid 20%. Jiang-Hu, here I am, trying to have an intimate, emotional conversation with you. And all you can talk about is cold, hard cash. Discussing money ruins the romance, sure. But discussing romance ruins my bank account. I casually wipe my mouth, adopting a look of utmost sincerity. President Shun, I'm just a simple, ordinary guy. I've got a mortgage, car payments, and I'm desperately trying to save up to marry a well-endowed, curvaceous wife who can easily bear healthy children. I could never survive in your lavish, high-society world. If you truly want to show your gratitude, just hook me up with a massive year-end bonus. That's 1,000,000 times more practical than offering me your hand in marriage. Suddenly, my phone buzzes with a call from an unknown, mysterious number. Jiang-Hu, you think you're pretty clever, don't you? Don't think that defeating a couple of useless trash means you've won. The true, bone-chilling horror of the Hall of Azura is something you have yet to witness. Tomorrow at midnight, meet me at the abandoned construction site in the west of the city. I have prepared a spectacular, grand gift just for you. If you dare to chicken out, I will wipe the entire Shun group off the face of the earth. Who was that on the phone? Just some boring, cliché clown, inviting me to an abandoned factory. Seriously, can these villains not find a more original meeting spot? It's always either an abandoned factory or some remote cliffside. Those places are crawling with mosquitoes and have zero air conditioning. Absolutely no creativity whatsoever. Let's head out, President Shun. It looks like we won't be able to finish this meal in peace. I need to go gather some specialized gear to teach them one final, unforgettable lesson tomorrow night. The following evening, at 11 p.m., I drive Shinbing straight toward the western outskirts of the city. Jiang-Hu, are we really going out there with just the two of us? Aren't we going to call in some backup? Who said I didn't call for backup? And I brought plenty of specialized gear too. Wait, this is your idea of backup. This is what I call strictly complying with municipal regulations. Shortly after, I park the car 500 meters away from the factory and kill the engine. We are entering an abandoned construction zone, so hard hats are mandatory. President Shun, put this on. This bright color stands out. If you get kidnapped, it'll make you super easy to spot. Wow, how incredibly thoughtful of you. With absolute caution, we slip into the dark, eerie facility. The entire factory floor is littered with jagged scrap metal and rusted steel, and shattered chunks of jagged concrete. In the middle of the empty courtyard, several large oil drums are blazing with roaring flames. And right in the center stands Yi Tian, flanked by an ominous figure wearing a terrifying mask. The guy is donning a grotesque, fanged demon mask, and backing them up is a massive, pitch-black crowd of thugs. Every single one of them is armed to the teeth with steel pipes and lethal machetes. Jiang-Hu, You've finally shown your face. Master, this is the exact punk who has repeatedly sabotaged our grand designs. You got some serious guts, kid, to dare cross paths with the Hall of Azura. Do you have even the slightest clue what kind of nightmare you've unleashed upon yourself? Hey, you guys over there, put out that fire immediately. Are you idiots burning stuff in an enclosed space, trying to trigger a massive wildfire, or what? Cut the useless chatter. Hand over Shin Bing right now, and I might just grant you a swift, merciful death. Keep your head down. Things are about to get incredibly chaotic in a second. Are you seriously planning to take on dozens of armed thugs entirely by yourself? Jiang-Hu, don't force yourself to do the impossible. Maybe we should just surrender the company to them. No way. That company is the sole source of my year-end bonus. Tear him to shreds. All right, everyone active. Suddenly, a dense, deafening buzzing noise echoes through the air from above. Over a dozen heavy-duty agricultural drones swarm through the gaping holes in the factory roof, hovering menacingly right over everyone's heads. I spent a clean $2,000 to rent these bad boys from the neighboring village. At my command, the high-pressure spray nozzles beneath the drone snap open, unleashing my specially customized concoction. A torrent of foul, filthy muck rains down upon them like a localized typhoon. The frontline thugs who rushed ahead are instantly blasted dead on by the disgusting spray. The already uneven, rocky ground is instantly coated in the thick, slimy sludge, becoming so treacherous that it transforms the battlefield into a slick ice rink. Dozens of thugs go down like a row of dominoes, crashing into a chaotic, tangled heap as their machetes, guns, and pipes go flying in every direction, making the entire scene look utterly embarrassing and downright hilarious. Yi Tian and the Hall Master, standing at the rear, are splashed with a few stray droplets of the disgusting sludge, their faces turning completely dark with sheer rage. Despicable, utterly shameless. Do you actually dare to step up like a real man and face me in a fair, honorable duel? I am a professional bodyguard, not some brainless gladiator fighting for entertainment. Why risk my life when a problem can be solved with modern technology? Then why on earth should we shed blood? An apocalyptic destruction device has been fully deployed right here, capable of completely erasing this entire facility from existence. Not a single soul is getting out of here alive. The entire area instantly plunges into a dead, suffocating silence. Even the thugs who were just rolling around in the muck are now so utterly paralyzed with fear that they don't dare make a sound. Shun Bing cautiously peeks her head out from behind a concrete pillar, her face completely pale and drained of color. Ha ha ha, look at this absolute clown. Hey buddy, do you even have the slightest clue what the blast radius of a bomb is actually supposed to be? All right, go ahead and press it. Give it a nice, firm press, and let's all enjoy a spectacular fireworks display together. Pretty romantic, don't you think? You, stay back. Don't you dare come any closer. I'll seriously press it. The indicator light on the detonator flashes to life. And then, absolutely nothing happens. No earth-shattering explosion. No raging inferno. Not even a tiny, pathetic pop. What? What the hell is going on? It's just a simple signal jammer, my dude. A full-spectrum signal blocking device. Bought online for a mere $250, specifically designed to wreck wireless signals. Your detonator is completely wireless, right? Operating on a frequency of 315 megahertz or perhaps 433 megahertz. I'm terribly sorry, but within a 500-meter radius, even a standard car key is completely useless. So what made you think your cheap budget tier knockoff remote control would actually work? Wait, this thing, isn't this just a regular snack sausage? It's literally just wrapped in a layer of red paper on the outside. Sweet corn flavor, by the way. Suddenly, the massive floodlights surrounding the factory simultaneously snap on, illuminating the dark. Dozens of heavily armed, fully geared police officers storm in from every single direction, pointing their pitch-black gun barrels straight at the hearts of every single criminal present at the scene. Officer Lee strides over, surveying the utterly chaotic, messy scene. Pinching his nose against the stench, he pats my shoulder. Jiang-Hu, you really pulled off a massive operation this time. Fortunately, thanks to your meticulous advanced preparations, the entire scene is now completely under our control. The criminal nature of this event is crystal clear. Every single illegal and illicit activity committed here will be thoroughly investigated to the fullest extent of the law. Furthermore, the financial cash flow of this syndicate is highly suspicious. These high-tech devices were clearly used to process smuggled contraband. The hard, undeniable evidence is right here. They ruthlessly exploited the curiosity of naive young people to carry out their illicit operations and reap massive, illegal profits. By the time you manage to penetrate their innermost core, you will realize that the entire operation is completely hollow inside. Aside from draining everyone's bank accounts, they have absolutely nothing of substance. I refuse to accept this. I was merely executing a highly classified, special mission. You people have absolutely no legal right to arrest me. Stop living in your delusions. Get your ass to the station and start confessing everything. The law will grant you a perfectly fair and just trial. Jiang-Hu. Screw you, bastard. Boss, we've basically achieved a monumental victory this time, right? As for my bonus, let's strictly follow Article 12 of our employment contract, shall we? Before I can even finish my sentence, Shinbing suddenly throws her arms around me, locking me in a tight embrace. The exquisite scent of her luxury perfume blends with the bizarre, pungent odor of the abandoned factory. Yet somehow, it feels incredibly soothing. Meanwhile, all the cops standing around us discreetly turn their heads away, awkwardly pretending to admire the scenery. From this day forward, forget about the original contract we signed. Stop talking to me about cash and bonuses. I want to negotiate a brand new contract extension, the kind that binds us together for a lifetime. Whoa, this is straight up workplace harassment, you know? Besides, my family has been poor peasants for 3 generations. If I dare cross this line, my old man will literally break my legs. In that case, I will happily marry into your family. I'll bring along a dowry worth several $100 billion. Pave the roads, build luxury homes, and fund schools for your entire hometown. Do you really think your dad would object to that? I gulp hard. Several $100 billion. This is no longer a mere test of a working man's professional integrity. This is a supreme temptation testing the core of human nature. 3 months later, inside the main office of the CEO at the Shun Group headquarters, I am dressed in a premium, bespoke suit that Shun Bing personally ordered for me, relaxing comfortably on a plush leather chair right next to the boss's grand desk. Shun Bing signs the corporate documents, occasionally lifting her head to steal a glance at me, her eyes overflowing with a tenderness as soft as water. Hubby, let's head home together for dinner tonight, okay? While we're at the office, please address me as Assistant Jiang. And who exactly is your husband anyway? We haven't even officially registered our marriage yet. Right now, you are strictly in a trial period. If your performance fails to meet my standards, I reserve the right to unilaterally terminate our contract at any moment. All right, a trial period it is. Then may I ask, Assistant Jiang, if you could graciously grace me with your presence and schedule a... Not tonight. I have to make a quick trip down to the detention center to drop off some daily essentials for Yi Tian. I heard that he's been behaving exceptionally well behind bars. Apparently, he's already been promoted to cell boss and is actively teaching the other inmates how to practice Tai Chi. I'm going over to bring him a comprehensive handbook on criminal law, just to make sure his rehabilitation goes flawlessly, so he can struggle to turn over a new leaf as soon as possible. Wow, you truly are a wonderfully kind soul, you know? But discussing personal matters during office hours means a mandatory salary deduction. However, your total earnings for this month, including your massive bonus, mental distress compensation, and a special loving me allowance, are right here. The password is the exact date of our very first encounter. I take the premium black card from her hand, my fingers trembling slightly. Is this the legendary feeling of being completely sugar-matted by a billionaire heiress? This is utterly decadent, corrupt, and entirely shameless. But damn, it feels absolutely incredible. I carefully tuck the card safely into my pocket and stand up. All right, Fina. Simply out of pure respect for cold, hard cash, I'll head over to your place tonight and whip up some delicious snail noodles for you, complete with 2 perfectly fried, sunny-side-up eggs. Ha, deal. Right after that, I calmly stride over to the massive floor-to-ceiling glass window, gazing out at the bustling, vibrant metropolis below. Who on earth ever said that a main character in a modern novel must constantly engage in violent bloodshed, savage territorial wars, and ultimate world domination? Being a highly professional bodyguard who thoroughly understands the rule of law, leverages modern technology, and knows how to occasionally enjoy being a kept man. That is what defines a true, undisputed winner in life. That clown Yi Tian actually wasn't entirely wrong about one thing. This urban world is indeed completely chaotic and utterly insane. But as long as you hold a rock-solid, legally binding contract in your hand, keep the police emergency hotline on speed dial, and possess a sharp wit combined with a perfectly calculated amount of audacity, you will always be the absolute, most invincible protagonist in the grand story of your own life.